Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Sanity Project podcast. You are here to discover a life of clarity, confidence, sanity, and entrepreneurial success. Our guest today is Trina L. Martin. Trina L. Martin is the author of From a Mess to Amazing: 7 Steps to Create the Life You Deserve. She has also been a technologist, speaker, author, and podcaster. An accomplished IT professional and retired U.S. Naval Officer with over 30 years of service, Trina has broken barriers and made strides in her career that many said weren't possible. Trina uses her experiences to motivate audiences to overcome adversity, develop self-determination, as well as discipline. Trina also inspires emerging leaders to pursue their wildest dreams with heart and grit. Naturally skilled at finding the harmony between technology, science, and data, she has led a stellar career in the information technology field. Trina now helps her clients elevate their business by using secure communication technologies. Welcome to the show, Trina L. Martin.
Thank you, Joanne, for having me. I'm just ecstatic to be here.
Well, I am really grateful that you are here. You have wonderful topics to talk about, and today you might be talking about how you can inspire women and empower women of color in tech to pursue leadership positions, since most of them are held by men. Mm-hmm. And I say that from my own personal familial experience. So how did you get here from 30 years in the Navy to helping people using secure communication technologies?
Wow. Well, my journey has been a colorful one. I am the youngest of 4 children. I grew up in Chicago. I am a product of Chicago Public Schools. And growing up, I had a verbally abusive mother, which led me to being very driven to succeed. I ended up being a type A person. So that led me to being the first person in my family to go to college. In college, I pursued computer science because I had always been very good at math and science. I loved deconstructing things, and just programming fascinated me during this time. And we're talking about in the 80s. So I ended up getting my degree in computer science. I went to college for a year and realized this is all coming out of my pocket and I need a way to pay for this. Mm-hmm. So I enlisted in the Army Reserves. And this was in 1990. Desert Storm was going on, if you recall. All sorts of craziness. I ended up doing 3 years in the Army and transferring over to the Navy. So at the same time, I was pursuing my, finishing up my schooling, my bachelor's degree in the Navy, and graduated and had a very great career. Worked in technology in the Navy, but also worked for some big major corporations programming. And it's funny because as I climbed the ranks in the Navy as well as civilian wise, because in the Navy, I ended up getting my commission and becoming an officer. So my 4 years, which I thought I was going to do to pay for college, ended up turning into 30, which wow. I had not expected. But I ended up doing 2 decades in private sector working in IT. And what was amazing to me was I looked around and I was very often the only woman and the only woman of color in the room, whether it was in my technology career privately or even in the military, because I climbed the ranks and I was a senior ranking officer. So there I was the only one in the room. And I started thinking to myself, I was like, why is this? I know I'm not the only person qualified, the only woman or the only woman of color qualified, especially in tech. And it's funny because you look through and you go through a company and you walk through a department and you see maybe 1 or 2 other people who look like you. And that just really, really stood out to me. And I was like, yeah, this shouldn't be. So here we are in a pandemic, and I've kind of changed from the secure communication technology to kind of lean all into coaching and helping women of color in tech get the pay, promotions, and the respect they deserve, as well as helping companies hire and promote and retain those women. So that's basically been my journey. Is I've lived it. So now I'm trying to help other women and companies. I'm trying to bridge that gap, close that gap, not bridge it, but
I was going to say,
yeah,
knock down that bridge.
Yeah, knock it down, close that gap, because it's a bad situation for women overall in tech. It's getting better, but when you look at, I do speaking, and I look at the company's executive management whenever I'm hired to speak, and you'll be amazed at the companies that either don't have any women in their lineup, or it may be one, and that person is not a person of color. So that was something that I was saying, you know what, I really want to change. And, you and I were speaking before the interview, but it's funny because when I say women of color, some people think that I'm only talking about Black women, because I am a Black woman. I'm talking about Black women, Latinas, Indigenous women, because the Native American and Native Alaskan women, they also are in tech, but they're overlooked as well, and they're having a hard time. So I want to change that. I want to get women in tech. I want to get them climbing those ladders to be into leadership. I want to, when I walk into a company and look at executive management, I want to see women of color doing that.
So I have to ask the question because I'm perplexed myself. I mean, I know having women on the C-suite level or any leadership level in IT, in tech, is just, it's empty. Mm-hmm. Why do you think this is happening?
Well, what I found, and in my experience, is when you're overlooked for so long, you start to say, well, do I belong here? And then from there, you go, well, you know what? I have all these, this experience and expertise. I'm going to leave this field. So a lot of women of color who started out in tech, they leave and they go to what I call female-friendly professions. So they'll leave tech to do accounting or business, something that's not tech-related, because
PR.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. PR, marketing, anything that aside, besides tech that they can go into where they don't feel like they're the odd person out. And that's what happens. So, you see this happen, like me, I eventually left tech too, even though it was after, 2 decades. But this is what you're seeing, because you get tired of fighting over the pay, over the promotions. You're qualified, but then you're made to feel like yourself, even though you know it yourself. You're going, well, do I deserve to be here? Do I deserve to be in this room? And then you have people who actually challenge you and challenge your knowledge and your qualifications. So many women just say, you know what, forget it. This is just too big of an obstacle. I want my mental health to be better. I want my family life to be better. So this is not even worth me fighting over. So you have that. And then when I look at young girls, like high school coming up, they don't even think about tech because they don't see anyone who look like them. So when you look at, you have a Latina girl who's saying, yeah, I want to go into tech, but then you don't see anybody who looks like you. And then you're not being told that you're smart enough to do this. You get told, you have to be good at math and science. Usually men are good at math and science.
Sure. All of those. Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt. It's just so this aspect of it that, boys do this and girls do that, or men do this and women do that, is old.
Yes. Cause I was told that when I was saying, in the 80s, when I was like, yeah, I'm going into tech. It was like, really? Oh, that's, you have to be really good at math and science. And I'm like, okay.
and
okay, yeah. What does that mean? What are you trying to say? So it's very old thinking, but that has gone on for years. So when you don't see a new generation coming up and wanting to be in the profession, it's because they don't see anyone that's like them. So they're going, well, why would I go to fight to kick down a door when I can go over here and be much happier? So that's what I'm finding.
So, okay, so we have to get the young ones, whatever the young ones are, 12, 13, 14, 15, I guess, and get them interested, because otherwise there's no future.
Right.
Because women, no matter what, women steward the world.
Yes.
And if tech is not stewarded, it's not even a word, but if they are not allowed to steward the tech world, what's it going to be? I mean, we read the stuff in the paper all the time, how men are doing this and doing that and fighting this and fighting that. The fights have to stop, number one, and we need to get the 12-year-olds, because they're smarter today than they used to be, and interested.
Yes. Yes. And if you think about it, the 12-year-olds and younger, they have more things at their fingertips than what we ever imagined.
Oh, God, right. Yeah.
Ever met. I was talking to someone and they have a 4-year-old, and they were talking about how the 4-year-old can operate an iPad better than they can.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going, really? And they were like, oh, yeah. And they show me how to do this and that. So you think about that. And, it's funny because this is kind of what I tell, like in my story when I start off when I'm speaking, but I went into technology. I didn't even have a typewriter in my house. And I know a lot of people are like, what is a typewriter?
Right. Yes, there is that.
There is that. But that was, a typewriter back then was like, oh God, if I could get a typewriter. So for me to go into technology and become a programmer, that was totally out of my wheelhouse.
Right.
But you have children nowadays who are doing it. They're writing code now. They know how to operate this technology. Like I have 2 teenagers, and sometimes I just say, hey, here's my phone. How do I do this? I was asking my daughter the other day, I was like, do you know how to do TikTok?
Yeah, right. That's the last vestige of maturity.
You know how to do this? So yeah, and we have to grab these young girls, and that's one of my programs that I'm developing right now is for girls of color who want to go into tech. I'm presenting to them and doing it as a mentorship of why they can go into tech, the benefits of tech, certifications, the salary, all these things that if they pursue tech, they can reap. But then I want to also bring in other women who can talk to them and show them that, yeah, I'm a woman. I was in tech in all different areas of tech. But it has to be something like that. You have to let them see it, see someone who looks like them, someone who is telling them the benefits instead of them just saying, well, it's a male dominated place and I have to be good at math and science. And if I don't look like the old, white guy, then I can't do it. So it's all of these things that really affect that industry.
Well, tech rules right now, and it has ruled for 25 plus years. And, a generation and a half, or if not 2 generations, have gone by with what we're talking about, what your topic is, being a huge issue. Now, I know that there are pockets of places in the world, definitely in the United States, where women are going, I've got my own. I am making my code. I am creating this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And they're surrounded by a bunch of women and maybe a token man. Mm-hmm. There's got to be some way, you're here, so you're it right now, Trina, to get more people involved in some journey, in some blowout of, this, number one, it's going to give them financial success, because if you're smart, the pay's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, even if you're not smart, the pay's good. That the field pays, right. Definitely. And then you could show them and yet they could pull back. They could own their own company. They don't have to work for anybody else.
Yes.
If they don't want to work 80 hours a week, they can work 3 days a week. They could alternate with somebody else. Because women can be more flexible. I don't say every woman is, but the flexibility is there. The opportunity is there. So what has been the feedback that you're getting from the corporate leaders about having women on board, women of all colors?
You know, it's funny because you get some that say, oh, well, we can't find anybody qualified. Oh, we can't find a woman who's in tech or a woman of color. And I'm going, really? There's plenty of us out there. I think you need to look beyond your little box where, that you've normally been looking out of. And now everything is, DEI, right? That's the new buzz thing, right? The new craze. But when I go into these companies, I'm telling them, you know what? If you really want to be diverse and inclusive, don't just talk the talk, walk the walk. You can't just hire people and forget about them. You have to invest in them. Women, they want to be paid. They want to get the training that the men get. They want to have the opportunities. All these things. You can't just say, oh, yep, I hired a woman. Oh, I hired a woman of color. So we're good. We can write that on our, end of the year recap. You can't do that. You have to actually invest, make an objective, a target, a key thing in your business that you're not just presenting opportunities to the men. And it's funny because you get these companies that say, well, opportunities are opportunities. It's out there for anyone. Well, yeah, no, you do it so that you don't seem like you're discriminating. But then when it's always the man that's getting the position, we have a problem. So, and that's what these companies really need to realize. And that's what I work with them to say, you have to put effort in it, because once you do, not only will that work for your bottom line, that's actually going to help your employees want to be there and want to invest. And then pretty soon you'll see that they're starting to tell you about other qualified women and saying, hey, I have a friend who is in tech and she has this specialty and I think she'll be a good fit for this. But it takes intention and it takes effort, not just saying we can't find any, or yeah, I hired one person and, that's it. You can't have the one female in an office full of men.
No, my daughter had that experience here.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't even name the company except it has 3 letters. It was terrible. It was terrible. And think of it as, okay, these companies, the leaders of these companies, and are they really leaders, or is it the board of directors that run the show? You can't use HR because HR just makes sure nobody gets sued.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. For your HR and you're listening, I'm telling the truth. You have no end game. Your end game is to keep your job.
Right. And
that's it. You don't support anything new and different or something that you should support, like hiring more women.
Right.
Women right now are still over 50% of the population, 53+%, still earning that 70 odd cents per dollar that has been in existence, decades upon decades. Even though there's bigger money in tech than other categories, but you would think that the companies would want a good press release to be able to put out. Make a fake press release, pass it out the next time. Whatever, XYZ company hires X number of women in the this arena, and it's like white, this, that,
right,
all of it.
Yeah.
And make it a goal for the company. This is what you need to do. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It has to be intentional. It can't, I think it's a cop out when they say, oh, we just can't find we can't find anyone. Or, well, yeah, we have Jane. Well, okay, there's Jane, but why is it only one person? Why is it only one? Or why is Jane there, but she's like, the next to the lowest thing on the totem pole? These are the things that they really need to look at. And it really just really bothers me when these companies, and I'm like you, I've been in some, and I'm not going to say any names, some big worldwide named companies. And you're just going, wow, really? Are you, who's doing the hiring here? Did anyone not look around and see what's going on? And they don't.
Well, this annoys me. And I don't like when something annoys me. My mind keeps going in many ways. But, do these companies really want to make money? Do these companies really want to make headway? Do these companies not realize? I mean, when I never mind, I don't want to talk about the faces of the men I see on television. Because it's like, what? Mm-hmm. You have that much power?
Yes.
Who are you? Who are you that you have power? And I think that's the key. It's always been the key. Men are afraid of women.
Yes.
And that hasn't stopped. That won't go away. So you either need some of the more tender meat of men that are coming into the C-suites who are legitimate and who will look with you in the same way that you see things.
Yes.
Looking forward.
And that's so that the allyship, that is very, very important. And I'm sorry to say this, but you find that they're few and far in between. A male that is actually going in, that's actually looking outside of himself, and I'm not trying to bash men, but
no, but they're there.
Right. They're there, but it's they get there and it's like, oh, here I am. I've made it to Mahogany Row. I have my mahogany desk and my window in my office. And so I'm great, but they're not looking to reach out to anyone else. And there are few, but you really have to look for them, and they have to not be afraid to reach out to you or to stand up and say, hey, this woman here should have this training opportunity, or this woman should be put into this position. And it's really, it's very bothersome that you can't find it, because I think for things to change, not only is it going to take women like you and I, but it's also going to take some men who are actually part of the movement to say, yes, I want it. You can't just be the only person that's saying, okay, I'm the executive in tech, or I'm the big boss at this tech company and I'm the one earning 6-7 figures, because there are qualified women of every color. And I just want to see, I want to see it all. I want to see everybody. I want to see women spanning. I want to see that women rainbow being in tech, and not just the onesie twosies, not the one that, oh, okay, here, let's announce this big press release because you pulled her from somewhere else because she used to be a big exec somewhere else. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but let's really help the women who have been there, who've been working in the company, who've worked and climbed the ladder, and let's put them into some of these executive positions and some of these leadership decision-making roles. And I think that will help spearhead a better direction for tech to get out of this, what everyone knows as the unequal, underrepresented industry.
Totally unrepresented and unequal. Mm-hmm. Well, as I usually tell my listeners, this episode, as in most episodes, run a total of 30 minutes, plus or minus, including the intro and the outro and other things that we do. And I want you to re-listen to it. And I want you to have a little yellow pad and your pen and start taking notes and come up with, 3 or 4 ways that you can help. This is not a cause. This is not an opportunity. This is reality. This is what should be already in existence and is not. there's a lack of, I hate to use the word, but there's a lack of fairness here on both sides.
Yeah.
So, and we need it more, as I say, 53% of the population in the United States, at least, are women, females, whatever you want to call them. I'm a woman. Trina's a woman. Okay, so there are 53% of us, and we have what? You have 10% in your tech world? If that, in leadership roles. Anyway, Trina L. Martin's book is called From a Mess to Amazing: 7 Steps to Create the Life You Deserve. What would you like to say in closing to the audience, Trina?
I just want to say, look around and see who's sitting beside you. Who's that woman that is qualified for that position that you may not be advocating for. And I want you to do that. Also, I have a coaching program that's, I call it my Tech Trifecta coaching program, where I am coaching women and women of color in tech how to get the pay, promotions, and respect that they deserve through leading and negotiating. So if you're interested in that, you can go to my website, which is, and I believe, Joanne, you're going to put it in the show notes.
Yes, it's going to be right there on the page on my website.
So, yeah, I'll
Trina L. Martin.
Yes. But yeah, I would really like to see people actually looking and take a look at where you work, whether you're in the C-suite or whether you're one of the worker bees, and look around if you're in tech and look at the disparities and really, instead of going in and just saying, oh, I have this job, I'm in tech, look around and see how many women do you see working beside you in actual tech, in the tech role, and try to do something to improve that.
Okay, we can all help, listeners. We can all help because we're part of the problem, all of us. There are a lot of things that need attention, but right now, this is a simple one, actually. This is a slice. It's a small slice of what is going on in our universe that has been going on for a very long time. So if you can think of ways, email them to Trina L. Martin, Trina@TrinaLMartin.com, and let her know this is where you heard it. I want to thank Trina for being here today. She's brilliant. She has a lovely website. I say lovely. That is outstanding website. That's better. And I want everybody to have a great day. Take care, put your thinking caps on, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life-Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.